Welcome back to your weekly installment of the Reserve List Top 10. These are the hottest selling cards on the Reserve List this week, and in today's video, we are going to look at the sudden explosion of sales in the singles market for the Reserve List. Now, which cards are exactly being bought and why? Well, that's what we're here to find out, so stay tuned and don't miss out. Welcome back, everyone. You're hanging out with the Moxman, and that's for a Reserve List Top 10 video. That's right, guys. We're here to discuss exactly what's going on with the Reserve List as we continue to see renewed interest in many of these Reserve List cards. Now, a reminder before we start today's video that if you would like to support my channel and you're going shopping for some of these cards, don't forget to use my TCG player affiliate link found in the description of all of my videos. Let's dive into the number 10 card. Now, number 10 this week is Sarah's Sanctum. It's coming to us from Urza Saga, and this thing still had 36 sales this week, which is $9,655.20 of total sales action. A lot of players back in the day ignored what Sarah's Sanctum could do, and that was due to the low availability of any really powerful enchantment cards that you would want to utilize. But in the 20 years since this all was going down, let's face it, the price of this card has started to go up. Starting in 2017, this card has continued to see pressure and prices slowly increasing over time. Yeah, it's had some dips, some highs, some lows, but you can't ignore what the card is going to do for you. The fact it gives you a white mana for each enchantment you have is crazy. You pair this off with Visigoth's Lair, the Deceiver, Extract, you can see there's a lot going on with this card that players don't want to miss out on. Number 9 this week is Lake of the Dead from Alliances. With an average price of $87.07 and 34 sales this week, yes, it tumbles from the number 1 position, but still at number 9 with $3,220 of sales action, it's pretty impressive for this card that is 30 years old coming back around again. This card often sees play with Eldrazi decks, and you really shouldn't ignore what this card can do for you in terms of mana ramp. And if you have ways of actually using this multiple times in a single turn, finding ways to untap lands, well, you can see where it would go. Let's not forget this card has been as high as $300. It's still 2/3 cheaper than what it used to be, and that is something a lot of players aren't ignoring right now. They are buying these copies used, new, whatever they can find their hands on, near mint to heavily played, they're buying copies. This often gets used with Crucible of Worlds. Don't ignore what that card is going to do for you inside the game. Being able to go back and bring the lands and sack them again is always a good thing. Now, for our number 8 card this week, it's still Hall of Gemstones from Mirage. $12.22 is the average price. 40 sales this week, which is only $488.80. This isn't like a big high-priced item. So for players who are looking for a bargain basement deal on some reserve list action, this one's actually going to do a pretty good job depending on how you're building your commander deck, legacy, vintage. Making sure your players can't mess you up is always a good thing, so keep this kind of card in mind just because of the price point. This thing's been as high as 50, 60 bucks, and you'll see it now. 12.22 is for a near mint copy. You can look on TCG Player and find these as low as $7 or $8 for moderately to heavily played versions, so don't tell me you can't afford it. If you're looking for cards like this, they are readily available and a lot of stores have them in stock. It is a reserve list card, and there's a lot of fun stuff you can use with a card like this. Let's not forget that this enchant world can mess people up. It can mess them up big because the mana producing ability gets chosen to one single color. Multi-decks just don't handle it well. Now, our next card is from Revised. This is Plateau, and we are looking at a version of a dual land that used to be ignored. Now, 43 sales this week takes the number 7 spot. That's $14,000 of total sales action. The average price is $339.99. This card has been increasing in value, okay? The price of this card seems to be trending up a little bit right now, and a lot of this has to do with Boxing Day sales and people who had gift cards from a lot of these LGSs that are using them right now, and we're seeing an increased volume of reserve list spending from a lot of players right now, and it's just trending upward in general. When we look at cards like this and look where the prices have been, do you notice this card really hasn't trended down that far? It hasn't gone back to $100, dual land anymore, or $150 dual land. No, they all are staying higher now. They are holding their price, and a lot of players aspire to getting these cards, will slowly build their way into positions and hold on to them. So after they own it, well, you can see how this could be a problem in the future for commander players. If there's none available, the price is going to keep going up. Next card is coming to us from Stronghold Diamond, finds its way back on for the exact reasons we just talked about Plateau. If you got a gift card for a couple $100, well, that's a good, good inroad into that first Mox Diamond you're trying to get your hands on. With an average price of $629.98, the 48 sales this week represents $30,200, but it really comes down to gift cards, trading in value, and players finally being able to get their hands on some of these as people have sold copies back to LGSs or private sales. This card here, we saw this dip way back in January of 2024, and it was down to around that $400 mark. And look where it is. It just keeps hanging in there now. It's not dropping like it used to. And this is one of the most powerful cards you can get into your commander deck. And a lot of players forget that, and you shouldn't, okay? This card's likely going to go a lot higher as the years go by. Now, our next card is Thawing Glaciers, again, from Alliances. The Mossborn Hydra seems to have triggered Thawing Glacier sales. We have 52 sales this week, which is only $959. Not a lot of money moving, but this is a card that triggers landfall. Being able to get this out, go back, utilize it more than once in a turn, you are going to pump up any creature affected by landfall abilities, and that is a good thing. The fact this thing is under 20 bucks still, it is a steal of a deal. The thing's been as high as $70, and you can see here, you can get it right now for $18.46. If you look online, $9, $10 for heavily played copies. You can save a bundle, and if you're looking for just 4 copies, it's not going to break the bank still. And with so many players who always come back around to different deck themes and ideas as Wizards brings new cards into the fold, this is one that players buy and hold on to, usually long term. Now for our next card, it's another oldie but a goodie. This is Jesters Mask from Ice Age. This thing refuses to leave my top 10, okay? 62 sales this week takes the number 4 spot. That's only $264. This is not a lot of money, okay? That's one Sarah Sanctum to get 62 copies of the Jesters Mask. Now, does it warrant that high of a price? Is there some way this is going to really work out for people? Well, if you look at all the ways we have of going back and getting artifacts from our graveyards, the fact that this thing used to be a $20, $30 card, and now it's $4 or $5, that's already insane. But you used to be able to find these things a month or two ago for like 50, 60 cents. It's only in the last little while we've started seeing the price increase. We can't forget that a card like this at 5 in a generic deck and coming into play tap looks like a big drawback. Yes, when you sacrifice it, it's pretty awesome. But when you add this in with an Amulet of Vigor and other mechanics to go back and get it, this card becomes a brutal stripping machine of what you are going to do to your opponents. Now, our number 3 card this week is, of course, Copy Artifact, Revised Edition. It has 64 sales this week, or $3,196 of total sales action. The average price is $49.95. There are other cards like Mirror Maid that are very similar, but they just don't have as low of a casting cost, which is why it doesn't draw the mass appeal of players. The cards like Copy Artifact from the old school days, we used to just take for granted that these were always going to be a $2 or $3 card. But as the years have gone by and the first buyouts in 2021 of these style of reserve list cards, the price has kind of settled up. They've gone down numerous times, but they don't seem to fall below the $30 mark. So it's something to keep in mind. To me, the floor of this thing is $30 and the high is $150. If you can get it around the $50 mark, near mint, I mean true near mint, it's not really a bad deal for what you're going to get for this card. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our next one, because guess what? It's a dual land again. This is scrub land, just like Plateau, just like Mox Diamond, the exact same reason, okay? 68 sales this week, $22,000 of total sales action. $328.67 is the average price. This one's been climbing in overall price value as well. When you look at the players who got all those gift cards and stuff, and 10% off, and stores like in Canada that have no taxes right now, a lot of sales have currently happened. I didn't track all of these. I'm sure there's actually more that I can't get my hands on right now, but this will give you a good idea of what we're seeing in the market. Those 60-something sales in a single week is a pretty big move. Now, things like Volcanic and Tundra, Underground Sea, they all had sales that were in that 10 to 14 mark. It wasn't enough to make the list, but it's still anywhere from $20,000 to $30,000 of total sales action. Dual lands stay. They stay like a guard dog, man. They protect you because you're always going to have them after you buy them. Now, our number 1 card, I did do a video on this earlier in the week. This is Mind Over Matter, okay? This one here has numerous combinations that allow for infinite loops. 83 sales this week, or $3,320. You can find this thing for $35 on TCG Player. The last couple of buyouts had it go over 100, but it's settled in quite nicely. Okay, this is a very good buying price point for this card. It has strong sales that demand at least a little bit of attention to say, what are we getting for our money? And the fact that this thing is a win con unto itself with so many various cards that you can add in, everything that lets you tap or untap something. So if I tap something, we draw a card, or all the opponents flip cards, or all the opponents draw cards and I don't draw cards. Whatever combination you're trying to put together with this card, you can't ignore the ability that if this gets onto the battlefield, you will mess people up if you can keep it there even for a turn. People have to realize this is a win con connector. Think about using it with Chromatic Orrery. Look at the mana you'll pump out and look at the cards you're going to draw. It's insane. Here at the end of the video, I want to give you a couple of key takeaway points to think about. We have vintage and legacy players. They are a small minority group of Magic the Gathering as a whole. They are active, they are fans, but they are a smaller player group. And they buy reserve list cards all the time, either for competitive or casual play. Then you have Commander. And the reason I'm mentioning Commander is it is by far the largest play group of Magic the Gathering currently in the game. Okay? No one I know now does not have Commander decks. But here's the thing about Commander players, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this. They don't just build one deck anymore. They don't just have one deck. Why, they don't have just two decks. They end up buying and buying and buying and stacking and collecting until they have no room left. And seldom do these decks get taken apart. There are some people who do, but seldom. They want to add to their deck collections. They're proud of collecting the game. But that also means when they buy reserve list cards, they don't release those reserve list cards back into the ocean of cards. They are holding them. They are adding it to their collection. They are using it for a deck. And that means the pressure, the price change on some of these cards over the next 10, 15, 20 years is going to be slow, but it is going to be steady. We are going to see that thumb pressing in deeper and deeper into some of these cards just because players want them and they don't want to give them up. And especially we're talking about dual lands. Dual lands get used in a lot of commander decks, even if you only need one for your commander decks. Maybe it's a red-black deck and you want to have a Badlands in there, right, to go with your Bloodstained Mire and a whole bunch of other cards. That one card is still $400, okay? That's right now. But then if you have people who like contact me, and I'm sure other content creators get similar emails, where a player buys a dual land for the first time for a commander deck, for a casual play, just because they wanted one. And they're proud of that fact. They trade in some modern stuff, and now they have their first underground sea, their first volcanic, a tundra, a savanna, a taiga, whatever it may be. They got their first one. They're not giving that up. Their flex, them being proud of accomplishment, means they will have a tangible tie to the card they just bought and will be very reluctant to give it up unless it's over something like I can't pay my mortgage, or I'm going to lose my healthcare benefits, whatever, some major life event. They're going to hold on to that card probably for their entire lives and pass it on to their kids. Even if their kids don't understand it, they're going to hold that card. But by holding on to these cards and adding them to 1, 2, 5, 10, 15, 20 commander decks by the player, you are going to see the pressure on some of these cards slowly but steadily start to increase, is how I believe things are going to play out. And it won't happen right away. These up and down prices we're seeing right now, up 10, 20, 30 bucks, up $100, down $5, down 10 bucks, down 20 bucks. That will go up and down forever. But that slow meander upward of 1 or 2 or 3% a year, I think is going to continue. But over a 10-year span, that card that's $300 now could be a $500 card in 10 years. And especially cards like Sanctum, where it's had continued pressure on it and not as much availability, that card may only be $200 and something now. But in 2018, that card was $60. So where's that card going to go if we keep getting amazing enchantments added into the card pool? If we keep getting enchantment creatures, enchantment artifacts for all we know, enchantment planeswalkers, you can see where this would go, making that card that much more valuable. So those kind of things are the ones I'm really worried about, and I hope people who want to get one before it's too late. And by too late, I don't mean it's not going to be available. I just mean the price tag's going to go to the point where you think it's insane to try to get your hands on one, the way people feel about like Gaia's Cradle right now. and look at like Time Walks and Time Twisters, those Power 9 cards where they feel like there's no way they can save for it. I wonder how that's going to play out. And as this game becomes more popular and as it gains steam and competitive play, I think Commander players are going to be the first ones to notice that some of these cards are just too expensive for them to get their hands on, and they'll be looking for alternatives. Either way, I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me on my channel today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you give it a thumbs up, drop some comments in the comment section, share your experiences of what's going on. Maybe you're really proud of some cards you bought. I do want to hear about that. It's amazing when we work toward those goals and you finally get there. You should be proud. Guys, go play some Magic. Have a great day today. I will see you on the live stream, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. But for now, the Moxman's out of here. Have a great day. Welcome back to the end of the video. Now, of course, this is where we get to thank all the amazing patrons of the channel. These are the supporters that make these videos happen every day. They're the reason this channel exists. Now, I can't go on without saying thanks again to the YouTube membership members as well. They do the exact same thing. And of course, we are going to keep doing videos. We're going to keep showing up. We're going to keep talking about these cards. It's amazing. Reserve list forever. Welcome back to the Ramble Jamble. You are here. You're here at the after party. We're checking things out. We're chilling like a villain because that's how we like to do it here on the channel. We have the live stream tonight, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. I hope you guys can make it out. It's the closest one to my actual birthday, which is this week. So it's going to be like my birthday live stream. We're going to chill out. I'm going to talk about things I want to spend money on and about all the good things that I'm hoping are coming in 2025. All right, we're going to have a good time. Either way, have a great day. If you're buying any cards, don't forget to use my affiliate link. Don't forget to use that link, guys. Pin it up somewhere. Make it a special place, a happy place, because when you're buying on TCG Player, at least they get the kickback here on the channel. Allows me to get more cards, which is good for everybody. Okay? So thanks again. Thanks for being here. And yeah, I'll see you in a few hours because, yeah, that's the way it's got to be.